What's in the box?
For our next installment of the Monster Mash, we move on to the Chris Novoselic of the Universal Monster Trio, The Wolfman. In 1941, the tale of Larry Talbot's tragic transformation into a bloodthirsty beast kickstarted the popularity of the werewolf in the horror genre, and led Lon Chaney Jr. to reprise the role in 4 more movies. One of the Wolfman's numerous fans was actor Benicio Del Toro, who was announced to star and produce in a remake directed by 1 Hour Photo's Mark Romanek, and us movie fans were thrilled to see what dark edges Romanek would bring to the movie. But Romanek left due to those pesky creative differences, and Joe Johnston took the helm instead, a guy who knows as much about directing horror as I do about the chemical properties of lithium. $150 million and numerous reshoots, rewrites, and re-edits later, The Wolfman opened in 2010 only to receive the dual silver bullets of bad reviews and a failure to gross back its budget, making it one of the most expensive box office flops of all time. So now that this remake has been largely dismissed and forgotten as Universal tries to reboot its monster universe into an Avengers-sized franchise with Dracula Untold, I think it's time we give a second look to The Wolfman, or as I like to pronounce it, The Wolfman. Because apparently when you remake a movie, that makes you too cool to have a second space in your title, because second spaces are for old people! Or as I like to call them, old people. Now in this version, Lawrence Talbot is not just an ordinary schmo, but rather a Shakespearean stage actor in 1890 who left his English village for America after the traumatic suicide of his mother and a stint in an insane asylum. But when the fiancée of his brother, played by Emily Blunt, comes to let him know his brother's gone missing, Lawrence returns to Blackmore and the messy remains of his family's estate, looked over by his crazy pants father, played by Anthony Hopkins. How do I know he's crazy pants? He wears swimming goggles as glasses, hence Crazy Pants. Talbot finds his brother has been mutilated by a mysterious creature feared by the townspeople, and soon finds himself at the receiving end of that same creature. But in this case, Lawrence survives his attack with the help of wandering gypsies, and once the next full moon rolls around, he finds himself turning into that same savage beast, a werewolf. And trust me, this werewolf does not care for basketball or breakdancing, to say the least. Now this is all actually pretty interesting and good so far, but there's a surprising flaw that prevents me from truly loving it. Benicio Del Toro. Don't get me wrong, he's great as the Wolfman, and Rick Baker's Oscar-winning makeup is awesome as always. But as Larry Talbot, Benicio underplays him way too far, almost to the point where he could very well disappear off the screen at any moment. Sure, it's admirable to see an actor as extravagant as Del Toro can be bring it down a notch, and I know this is a deliberate acting choice rather than Del Toro not wanting to be there. I mean, dude's the collector of Wolfman memorabilia, and the producer of this movie. But it doesn't get the inner torment across that Larry Talbot should be going through.
I missed his whole life. My mother wasn't a whore. What joy he must have felt.
And it makes me wonder how a guy this subdued would ever make it as a stage actor.
I knew him, Horatio.
What?
A fellow of infinite jest.
What was that?
Of most excellent fancy.
We can't hear you in the back row, asshole! Hell, I mean they literally have to dunk the guy in ice water to get him to say his lines in something louder than a mumble.
I will kill all of you!
Does not think Alexander look at his fashion in the earth?
God, I sure hope that isn't Benicio's O-face. Thankfully, the rest of the cast picks up the slack. Emily Blunt does the best she can with a thankless part, Hugo Weaving brings his trademark villainy as the police inspector hunting Talbot down, and Anthony Hopkins is really fun to watch as the doddering old man who's hiding more than a couple of skeletons in his closet. And for a director inexperienced in horror movies, Joe Johnston does a pretty solid job. The movie's got a great atmosphere, and the kills are exceptionally gory. It's stuff like this that makes me not lose hope in having unrated cuts. But I do have to take points off for the lack of cool transformation sequences and a goofy and badly edited final fight scene. Whoever said werewolves could be made scarier by lighting them on fire should not be working in Hollywood anymore. But for the most part, this movie is surprisingly intelligent, entertaining, and respectful of its source material. Sure, nothing can beat the beautiful simplicity of the original Wolfman, but this version does a solid job in becoming its own beast. Good job, Wolfman. You may have a doggy treat. Even a man who is pure in heart and says his prayers by night can watch this movie while getting blasted by mixing rum and Sprite. Let's play the awfully good drinking game! Take a shot or drink every time the Wolfman racks up another kill. Someone lights another candle. You see, it's funny because we don't use that as our major source of giving us light anymore. You see another appearance of this feral werewolf kid in a flashback. It's good to see Iggy Pop getting some more acting work. The family dog barks at Benicio Del Toro. Oh, not because he's a werewolf, but because Benicio Del Toro insists on carrying raw hamburger in his pockets. I don't know, it helps him get into character. What do you want? And take a double shot when you spot a Rick Baker cameo. Rick Baker getting killed by a CGI werewolf. Isn't that ironic?
Don't you think?
And on the nudity watch, whether you watch the rated or unrated version of this flick, you will sadly not get to see Emily Blunt unleash her Emily butt.
Sorry.
On the enjoyableness continuum scale from Bull to Bruce, the Wolfman manages to lift the curse of completely terrible horror remakes and sinks its fangs into a 7 out of 10. In the words of Benicio Del Toro, I'm Jesse Shade for JoBlo.com, and if you think that having a Mexican Wolfman is going outside the box, wait until next week's Monster Mash, where we will give you a Black Dracula. Until then, stay spooky, my friends! Ha ha ha!
Joe Blow, he sure likes to drink a lot. Joe Blow watches movie like the hero man. Joe Blow, he's not just like the sun.
Hey everyone, Jesse Shade here from Awfully Good Movies. Thank you so much for watching. If you want to see me take on more good bad movies, click on any of the links you see here, or subscribe to see this show alongside all the great content that we offer here at JoBlo.com. And remember, I love you. Wait, that sounded wrong. But I do love you though.